A tiny little town called Willow Creek, where nothing exciting ever happens. The sun is shining, the birds are singing, and the streets are quiet, too quiet, if you ask me. It's the kind of place where everyone knows everyone, and every day feels exactly the same. But today? Oh, today is going to be different. Very different. And it all starts with a lady named Margaret Thompson. Now, you might be thinking, Margaret Thompson? Who's that? Well, let me tell you about her. To everyone in Willow Creek, she's just Maggie, the sweet old lady who lives in the little yellow house on Maple Street. Maggie is the kind of person you see shuffling down the sidewalk, moving slow and careful, like she's afraid she might trip. Her tiny dog, Tinkerbell, trots right beside her, wagging her fluffy tail. Tinkerbell is so small, she looks like a little cotton ball with legs. Maggie always has a big smile for everyone she meets, and she loves to stop and chat about the weather or ask how your day is going. Maggie looks like the most ordinary person in the world. She wears a faded blue sweater that's so old, it has little holes in the sleeves. Her gray hair is tied up in a messy bun, with strands sticking out all over the place, like she didn't have time to fix it. And her glasses? Oh, they're always slipping down her nose, and she's always pushing them back up with a shaky finger. To anyone watching, Maggie is just a harmless old lady, the kind of person who bakes cookies for the neighbors, waters her flowers every morning, and maybe forgets where she parked her car at the grocery store. But here's the thing, my friends. Maggie isn't ordinary. Not even a little bit. Oh no. She's hiding a secret. A big, huge, gigantic secret that could turn this quiet little town upside down. What kind of secret, you ask? Well, I can't tell you just yet. That would ruin the fun. But let's just say Maggie is a lot more than she seems. A lot more. And soon, everyone in Willow Creek is going to find out the truth. Stick around, because you're about to go on a wild ride full of surprises, action, and twists you'll never see coming. Now, let's take a closer look at Maggie's day, because this is where the story really starts. It's a bright, sunny morning, and Maggie is walking Tinkerbell down Main Street, just like she does every day. The street is lined with little shops, a bakery that smells like fresh bread, a hardware store with shiny tools in the window, and a diner where the waitresses wear pink aprons and call everyone honey. People wave at Maggie as she passes by, and she waves back, her smile big and friendly. "Good morning, Maggie," calls Mr. Jenkins, the baker, as he sweeps the sidewalk in front of his shop. "Good morning, dear." Maggie calls back, her voice soft and sweet. But not everyone is nice to Maggie. Oh no. There are some people in Willow Creek who look at her and think, she's just an old lady. She's weak. She's slow. She doesn't matter. And that, my friends, is their big mistake. Because Maggie isn't weak. She isn't slow. And she definitely matters. But they don't know that yet. Let me give you an example. As Maggie walks past the park, she sees a group of kids playing soccer. They're kicking the ball back and forth, laughing and shouting, having a great time. But then, one of the kids, a tall boy with a red cap, kicks the ball too hard, and it flies right toward Maggie. Uh-oh. The ball is zooming through the air, and it looks like it's going to hit her. The kids freeze, their eyes wide, waiting to see what will happen. But Maggie? She doesn't panic. She doesn't scream or run. Instead, she does something strange. Just as the ball is about to hit her, she steps to the side, quick as a flash, and catches it with one hand. That's right, one hand. The kids gasp, their mouths hanging open. How did an old lady do that? Maggie just smiles, tosses the ball back to the kids, and says, "Be careful, dears." Then she keeps walking, like nothing happened. The kids stare at her, confused. The boy in the red cap whispers to his friend, "Did you see that? She moved so fast." His friend nods and says, "Yeah, but, she's just an old lady, right?" They shrug and go back to their game, but you, my friends, should be wondering, how did Maggie do that? How did she move so fast? And why didn't she seem scared at all? Maybe there's more to Maggie than meets the eye. As Maggie keeps walking, she passes by the town's big clock tower, which chimes every hour. The clock says it's almost noon, and the street is getting busier. People are rushing around, carrying shopping bags, pushing strollers, and talking on their phones. Maggie doesn't rush, though. She takes her time, enjoying the sunshine, letting Tinker Bell sniff every bush and tree. To everyone watching, she looks like the slowest, weakest person in town. But you and I? We know better. We know Maggie is hiding something big. Something exciting. Something dangerous. And here's where things start to get interesting. Because while Maggie is walking, something is about to happen. Something bad. Something that will change this ordinary day into an extraordinary adventure. What is it, you ask? Well, I can't tell you just yet. But I'll give you a tiny hint, it has to do with some very rude, very loud, very mean people who are about to make a very big mistake. A mistake they'll wish they never made. But before we get to that, I need your help, my friends. Let's make this story even more fun. Right now, I want you to pause the video and leave a comment below. Tell me, do you think you could spot a secret spy in real life, or would they fool you too? Maybe you'd notice their sneaky moves, or maybe they'd trick you with a clever disguise. Hit that like button if you think you'd figure it out, and let's see who's the sharpest detective out there. Oh, and while you're at it, tell me where you're watching from today. Are you at home, at school, or maybe on a trip somewhere cool? I can't wait to read your comments. Now, get ready, because Maggie's ordinary day is about to turn into something extraordinary. And when it does, you'll see why Maggie is the most amazing person in Willow Creek and why you should never, ever underestimate someone, no matter how old or slow they seem. Stick around, because the fun is just beginning. Now, let's get back to Maggie, walking her little dog Tinker Bell through the quiet town of Willow Creek. The sun is shining, the birds are singing, and everything seems peaceful. But wait, something is about to happen. Something loud, something rude, and something very, very mean. Are you ready? Because here it comes. As Maggie walks past the park, a huge, loud noise tears through the air. Vroom. Vroom. It's so loud, it makes the ground shake and the birds fly away in a big, scared flap. What is it? It's a gang of bikers, zooming by on their shiny motorcycles. Their engines growl like angry beasts, and the noise is so big, it hurts your ears. These bikers aren't nice people. Oh no. They're troublemakers, the kind of people who think they can do whatever they want and scare everyone in town. The leader of the gang is a tall guy named Spike. He's big and tough, with a mean face and a leather jacket covered in bright patches. When Spike smiles, it's not a nice smile, it's a smirk, the kind of look that says, I own this town, and you can't stop me. His gang follows close behind, laughing and shouting, their motorcycles kicking up clouds of dust as they speed by. And guess who's right in their path? Poor Maggie and her tiny dog, Tinker Bell. The bikers zoom past Maggie so fast, the wind from their bikes blows her gray hair all over the place. The dust they kick up flies right into her face, making her cough and blink. Poor Tinker Bell yelps, scared by the noise, and hides behind Maggie's legs, her fluffy tail shaking. Maggie just stands there, brushing the dirt off her faded blue sweater, her glasses slipping down her nose. But here's the strange thing, while Tinker Bell is scared, Maggie isn't. Not one bit. Her eyes narrow ever so slightly, like she's thinking hard about something. What is she thinking? We'll find out soon. But Spike? Oh, Spike isn't done being mean. Not at all. He screeches his big, shiny motorcycle to a stop, the tires squealing so loud it hurts your ears. Then he turns his bike around, grinning like a wolf who's just found a tasty snack. He looks at Maggie, standing there with her messy bun and her tiny dog, and he decides to be even meaner. Hey, Grandma, he shouts, loud enough for everyone in the park to hear. His voice is rough and nasty, like he's trying to make Maggie feel small. Why don't you go home and knit something? This street's no place for old fossils like you. The other bikers howl with laughter, pointing at Maggie and jeering. Some of them yell things like, yeah, go bake cookies, lady, and get lost, old timer. A few people in the park snicker, thinking it's funny to pick on an old lady. But most people just look away, too scared to say anything. They don't want to make Spike mad, because Spike is big, and Spike is mean, and Spike always gets his way. At least, that's what everyone thinks. Now, if you or I were in Maggie's shoes, we might feel scared. We might feel sad. We might even want to run away and hide. After all, Spike is big and loud, and his gang is noisy and rude. But Maggie? Oh, Maggie is different. She doesn't flinch. She doesn't cry. She doesn't even look scared. Instead, she does something very, very interesting. She adjusts her glasses, pushing them back up her nose with a shaky finger. Then she tilts her head, just a little, and looks right at Spike. Her eyes are sharp, like a cat watching a mouse. And in a calm, quiet voice, so quiet you almost can't hear it, she says, "You should be more careful who you talk to like that, young man." Spike blinks, surprised. Did this old lady just talk back to him? Him, the big, tough leader of the biker gang? He can't believe it. He laughs even harder, revving his motorcycle engine to drown out her words. Vroom. Vroom. The noise is so loud, it makes Tinker Bell yelp again and hide even closer to Maggie's legs. "What are you gonna do, lady?" Spike shouts, his voice full of mockery. "Hit me with your cane?" Ha! The other bikers laugh even louder, slapping their knees and pointing at Maggie like she's the funniest thing they've ever seen. To them, she's just a weak, slow, silly old lady who doesn't belong on their street. But oh, my friends, Spike has no idea what he's getting into. None at all. Because Maggie isn't just any old lady. She's something else. Something much, much more. And that tiny smile on her lips? That smile that says she knows something Spike doesn't? That's the first big hint that things are about to get wild. Now, let's take a moment to think about what's happening here. Spike and his gang are being mean to Maggie just because she looks old and weak. They think it's okay to yell at her, to scare her, to make her feel bad. But is that fair? No way. Maggie hasn't done anything to them. She's just walking her dog, minding her own business, trying to enjoy a sunny day. And yet, here comes Spike, acting like he's the king of the town, picking on someone he thinks can't fight back. But here's the thing, my friends, Maggie isn't scared. Not even a little bit. And that should make you wonder, why isn't she scared? Why isn't she running away? Why is she smiling, even just a tiny bit? Maybe Maggie isn't as weak as she looks. Maybe she's not as slow as she seems. Maybe, just maybe, she's got a trick up her sleeve. A big trick. A secret trick. And what about the people in the park? Some of them are laughing at Maggie, thinking Spike is funny. But most of them are just standing there, watching, doing nothing. They're too afraid to stand up to Spike, too afraid to help Maggie. That makes things even worse for Maggie, doesn't it? She's all alone, with no one to help her, facing a big, mean bully and his loud, rude friends. Or is she? Hang on tight, my friends, because this is just the beginning. Things are about to get wild, wilder than you can imagine. What is Maggie planning? Why isn't she scared? And what happens when you mess with the wrong person? Stick around, because the answers are coming, and they're going to blow your mind. Now, my friends, things are starting to heat up in the little town of Willow Creek. Remember how Spike and his biker gang were so mean to Maggie, yelling at her and scaring her little dog, Tinker Bell? Well, guess what? They didn't stop. Not even close. Days turned into weeks, and Spike's gang got bolder and meaner. Every single evening, when the sun went down and the streetlights flickered on, you'd hear that loud, scary noise, vroom. Vroom, as the bikers roared past Maggie's little yellow house on Maple Street. Their motorcycles were so loud, they made the windows shake and the pictures on Maggie's walls wiggle. Spike would honk his horn, beep, beep, over and over, just to be annoying. The other bikers would yell rude things, like, "Hey, Grandma, go back to the old folks' home," or "Get out of our town, you slow old lady." Sometimes, they'd even throw empty soda cans onto Maggie's front yard, laughing as they sped away into the dark. Poor Tinker Bell would bark and hide under the couch, her fluffy tail shaking with fear. One day, Spike and his gang went too far. Way too far. They stopped their bikes right in front of Maggie's house, and Spike pulled out a can of spray paint. He shook it up, rattle, 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 and then, with a big, nasty grin, he spray painted big, ugly words on Maggie's mailbox. The words said, "Grandma, go home." The red paint dripped down the mailbox, making it look messy and sad. The neighbors peeked out their windows, watching it happen, But no one said a word. They were too scared of Spike. Some of them even whispered to each other, "Poor Maggie. She should just move away. She's too old to deal with troublemakers like Spike." But Maggie? Oh, Maggie didn't seem worried. Not one bit. The next morning, when she saw the ugly words on her mailbox, she didn't cry or yell or call the police. Instead, she just shook her head, grabbed a bucket of soapy water, and scrubbed the paint off, humming a little song as she worked. Her hands moved fast, like she'd done this kind of thing before. And here's the strange part: while she scrubbed, she smiled. Not a big, happy smile, but a tiny, secret smile, the kind that says, "Oh, you silly boys. You have no idea who you're messing with." Now, my friends, this is where things start to get really interesting. Because while Spike and his gang were being mean and loud, Maggie started acting strange. Very strange. Late at night, when the whole town was asleep and the streets were quiet, Maggie would do something sneaky. She'd wait until the clock struck midnight, ding, dong, and then she'd tiptoe down to her basement, locking the door behind her with a soft click. Down there, in the dark, dusty basement, hidden under a pile of old quilts, was a big, heavy trunk. It was old and scratched, with rusty locks that looked like they hadn't been opened in years. But Maggie knew exactly how to open it. She'd pull out a tiny key from her pocket, turn it in the lock, click, and lift the lid. And when she did, you'd see something shocking. Inside the trunk, there were no old clothes or dusty books. Oh no. There were radios, maps, and strange gadgets that looked like they belonged in a spy movie. There was a little radio with blinking lights and twisty dials, making crackly noises as Maggie turned it on. There were maps of Willow Creek, with red lines and circles drawn all over them, like Maggie was planning something big. And there were gadgets, oh, the gadgets. A tiny camera shaped like a button, a pen that could shoot out a sticky net, and even a pair of glasses that glowed green in the dark. Maggie would sit there, scribbling notes on a little pad of paper, listening to crackly voices on her headset, and smiling to herself. What was she up to? Was she just a crazy old lady playing with toys, or was she something much, much more? Meanwhile, Spike was getting cocky. Very cocky. He thought he was the king of Willow Creek, and he started bullying other people in town too. He'd scare the kids at the park, making them drop their ice cream cones as he zoomed by on his motorcycle. He'd yell at Mr. Jenkins, the baker, demanding free donuts and leaving without saying thank you. And he'd even push old Mrs. Carter's grocery cart out of the way at the store, laughing as she struggled to pick up her spilled apples. Spike thought no one could stop him. Not the police, not the mayor, not anyone. But Maggie? Oh, Maggie was watching. She noticed everything. She saw the way Spike always parked his bike in the same spot outside the diner, under the big oak tree. She noticed the times he'd meet his gang at the diner, always at 6 o'clock sharp, ordering big plates of fries and milkshakes. She even heard the way he bragged about a big job he was planning, whispering to his gang about something sneaky and bad. Maggie would walk by with Tinker Bell, pretending to be slow and weak, but her ears were sharp, and her eyes were quick. Little did Spike know, every rude word he said, every mean action he took, was digging him into a deeper hole. Maggie wasn't just watching, she was remembering. She was planning. She was waiting. But waiting for what? What was Maggie going to do with all those notes, those maps, those strange gadgets? And why did she smile every time Spike was mean to her? The answers are coming, my friends, but not just yet. Here's a question for you: if you were Maggie, would you fight back right away, or would you wait for the perfect moment? Think about it. Spike is big and mean, and his gang is loud and scary. Would you jump in and yell at him, or would you be sneaky, like Maggie, and plan something big? Drop your answer in the comments, and let's see who's thinking like a spy. Oh, and while you're at it, hit that like button if you're rooting for Maggie to teach Spike a lesson. I know I am. Hang on tight, my friends, because Maggie's secret is getting closer to coming out. Every day, Spike is making a bigger mistake. Every night, Maggie is getting ready for something huge. What's going to happen next? Will Spike finally push Maggie too far? And what happens when you mess with the wrong old lady? Stick around, because the best part is coming up. Now, my friends, get ready, because this is it, the big moment you've been waiting for. It's a sunny afternoon in Willow Creek, and Maggie is walking Tinkerbell in the park, just like always. The grass is green, the flowers are bright, and kids are playing on the swings. Everything seems normal. But then vroom. Vroom, Spike and his biker gang roar into the park, their motorcycles loud and scary. They zoom around Maggie, circling her like a pack of wolves, kicking up dirt and making Tinkerbell yelp in fear. Spike jumps off his bike, strutting up to Maggie with a big, nasty grin. In his hand, he's holding a can of spray paint, shaking it up rattle, rattle, rattle like he's about to do something bad. "Time to teach you a lesson, Grandma," he sneers, his voice mean and loud. The crowd in the park freezes, too scared to move. Some people hide behind trees, others grab their kids and back away, but everyone is watching, waiting to see what happens next. Spike thinks Maggie is weak. He thinks she's scared. He thinks he can do whatever he wants. But Maggie? Oh, Maggie doesn't even blink. She doesn't shake or cry or run. Instead, she reaches into her purse, slow and calm, like she's looking for a tissue or a mint like everyone expects. But what she pulls out isn't a tissue. Oh no. It's a badge. A shiny, official-looking badge with big letters stamped across it, CIA. Spike's smirk vanishes, like someone wiped it off his face. The crowd gasps, their eyes wide. Maggie holds up the badge, her voice calm but sharp as a knife. "I think it's time you learned who I really am, young man," she says, staring right at Spike. Before Spike can say a word or even move, Maggie presses a tiny button on her watch. Beep. Beep. Suddenly, the air fills with the sound of sirens, wee-oh-oh, loud and fast. Black SUVs screech into the park, their tires squealing on the pavement. Men in dark suits jump out, shouting, "Freeze!" Hands in the air. Spike's gang tries to run, their boots pounding on the grass, but it's no use. More agents appear from every corner, blocking their escape. Maggie steps forward, and oh, my goodness, she looks different now. Her faded blue sweater and messy bun are gone, replaced by a sleek black jacket and a look of pure authority, like a boss. "You see, Spike," she says, her voice steady and strong, "I'm not just some old lady. I'm Margaret Thompson, retired CIA agent, and I've been watching you for weeks. That big job you were planning? I know all about it. And now, so does the government. Now, my friends, it's time to see what happens after Maggie's big surprise." The park is buzzing with excitement, and Spike and his gang are in big trouble. The agents in dark suits move fast, putting shiny silver handcuffs on Spike and all his mean biker friends. Click. Click. The cuffs snap shut, and Spike's face looks like he ate a sour lemon, scared and mad all at once. As the agents take Spike away, the truth comes spilling out, like water from a tipped-over bucket. Maggie had been tracking their every move, using her old spy skills to gather evidence. Remember that big job Spike kept bragging about at the diner? It was a sneaky plan to rob the town bank, and Maggie knew all about it. She had recorded every word of it on her hidden gadgets, that tiny button camera, that pen that wasn't really a pen, and even her special glasses that could see in the dark. The agents search Spike's garage, and guess what they find? Maps of the bank, tools for breaking in, and even a stolen motorcycle hidden under a tarp. There's no way out. Spike and his gang are going straight to jail, where they can't scare anyone anymore. The crowd in the park cheers, clapping their hands and shouting, "Yay, Maggie!" They can't believe it. The sweet old lady they thought was weak and slow is the one who saved the day. The people of Willow Creek are shocked. They can't believe it, either. The sweet old lady they'd ignored, the one they thought was just a boring grandma, is a hero. The neighbors who'd whispered behind her back, saying she should move away, now feel bad. Really bad. So, they line up at Maggie's little yellow house, bringing her flowers, big, bright sunflowers and pretty red roses, and homemade pies, like apple pie and cherry pie, still warm from the oven. "We're so sorry, Maggie," they say, their faces red with shame. "We didn't know you were so brave." The mayor of Willow Creek even gets in on the action. He calls a big meeting in the town square, with balloons and a shiny gold banner that says, "Hero of Willow Creek." He gives Maggie a special award, a big, sparkly medal that shines in the sun. "Maggie Thompson," the mayor says, his voice loud and proud, "you are the bravest citizen Willow Creek has ever seen." The crowd claps and cheers, and Maggie just smiles, pushing her glasses up her nose. "I was only doing my job," she says, her voice soft but strong. "As for Tinkerbell? Oh, she's the happiest little dog in town." She wags her fluffy tail proudly, trotting beside Maggie like the loyal sidekick she is. The park, once a place of fear where Spike and his gang scared everyone, is now safe again, thanks to one amazing woman who refused to be pushed around. But here's a fun challenge for you: if you were Maggie, what spy gadget would you use to catch bad guys? Would it be a camera shaped like a button, a pen that shoots nets, or maybe something even cooler? Drop your ideas in the comments, and let's see who's got the coolest invention. Now, my friends, it's time to say goodbye to Willow Creek, but before we go, let's think about what happened. The quiet little town learned a big, important lesson, a lesson that can help all of us, no matter where we live or how old we are. What was that lesson? It's this: sometimes, the person you least expect is the one who can change everything. Think about it. Everyone in Willow Creek thought Maggie was just a slow, weak old lady. They saw her messy bun, her faded sweater, and her tiny dog, and they thought, she's not important. She can't do anything big. But boy, were they wrong. Maggie showed everyone that looks don't matter. What matters is what's inside your heart, your brain, and your courage. Maggie taught us all that courage doesn't care about age, strength doesn't care about size, and justice always finds a way. Let's talk about courage first. Courage means being brave, even when you're scared. Maggie was brave, even when Spike and his gang were mean and loud. She didn't run away or hide. She stood up to them, using her spy skills to make things right. And guess what? You can be brave, too. Maybe you're not a spy, but you can be brave in your own way, like standing up for a friend who's being picked on or trying something new, even if it feels scary. Next, let's talk about strength. Strength isn't just about big muscles or being tall. Strength is about being smart, being patient, and not giving up. Maggie was strong because she watched, she planned, and she waited for the perfect moment to show who she really was. You can be strong, too, by thinking hard, working hard, and believing in yourself, no matter what anyone says. And finally, let's talk about justice. Justice means making things fair, making sure the good guys win and the bad guys learn their lesson. Maggie made sure justice happened in Willow Creek. She stopped Spike and his gang, and she made the town safe again. You can help with justice, too, by being kind, by helping others, and by speaking up when something isn't fair. So, the next time you see someone being picked on like Maggie was, remember her story. Remember how she didn't let the mean words or the scary motorcycles stop her. And maybe, just maybe, you'll be the hero who steps up. You don't need a badge or gadgets to be a hero. All you need is a brave heart and a strong spirit. Thanks for watching, everyone. If this story made you cheer, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that surprise and inspire. Oh, and one last question: who's the strongest person you know, and why? Is it your mom, your dad, your teacher, or maybe even you? Drop your answer in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Here's another way to think about it: imagine you're playing a game, like hide and seek. The person who's hiding might look small or quiet, but they can still win the game by being clever and brave. Life is a little like that, too. You don't have to be the loudest or the biggest to win, you just have to be brave and smart, like Maggie.